Hi, welcome back to Jack's Vax and Safety. Today we're looking at my most recent marketplace purchase. As you can see, I have a glove on. This is just so that I don't touch anything I don't want to. And it's a machine that it seems like everyone but me has owned one at one point, and this is kind of a machine I've been wanting to try out for a while. And finding one has been a lot easier said than done. But I did find one on Marketplace for only $15, and it seems to be mostly complete. And does run. I did test it, but we still gotta do some work to it. This machine is a Eureka Altima. Yes, a Eureka Altima. Just a machine I've been wanting to try out for a long time. Technically, I have the bagged variant, which is the contour. So, first inspection is the brush roll is in decent shape. The bristles are nice and stiff. It's nice. But I can tell that that belt is not in the best shape. Another obvious thing is the foam part of the premotor filter is missing. But I do happen to have a replacement one that is still kind of drying, that I got from a bag of parts from a dude that owned a Eureka Uno, which is an Altima with an Optima handle. The HEPA filter, I don't know what it is with people and these HEPA filters specifically, but that is a Kleenex. That is a tissue or a piece of toilet paper. Which is crazy because these are one of the easiest to find filters for vacuums out there. In fact, the Ace Hardware up the street has these filters in it, which is kind of crazy to think that an Ace Hardware, which is pretty much easily accessible, has these filters for cheap. It does seem to have all of its tools, however, the dusting brush is obviously not original. Not exactly sure what happened to the dusting brush, but that is not my backstory. As you can see, dusty up there, dusty everywhere. It's from 2008, probably hasn't been serviced at all. Does run, but the motor is a bit loud, so I'm thinking there's some dirt in the fan. And it does have its original electrostatic self-cleaning duster, which cannot be said for a lot of Eureka vacuums. And I did run it, and it does work. It does not really spin though, but it's also probably because the machine needs a good servicing. Has a power paw with a riser visor that has a missing riser visor clip. The headlight does work, and I'll turn it on for you so you can see what's up with it. Yep, that belt is done for. So, gonna get this on the workbench, get ready to take it apart, and we shall show this thing a little bit of TLC. Alright, let's start tearing this bad boy apart, shall we? Gonna move this out of the way real quick, so I want to start by doing a couple of things. Seems like the cord does not want to drop out, so I'll just have to unwind it manually. Okay, there we go. So I think we're going to start taking some of this stuff off and out. Yep. I have a different riser visor with a good clip in it, so I think I'll just use that one on this and keep the other one for parts. Duster. Probably just gonna wipe down the duster assembly. I'm being completely honest. I do like that it came with almost everything. So, let the hose lay about for now. Get the rest of it apart when we get to the back side of the body. Much like the Maxima, the Altima only has 2 hood screws. I've definitely seen a lot worse, which is very nice. Just getting this part out. The edge cleaner window doesn't appear to be separable, so just be cleaned in the the brush roll. A big spool of hair just came out of the edge cleaner side, which means this brush roll has not been taken out in a long time. Appears to be kind of a rubber seal. I'll just see if I can get it out. That's applicable. Actually, that looks like foam and it might just be glued into place, so I think I'll leave that be. Here's the belt. Pretty stretched, to say the least. Definitely need to clean the end caps out on the brush roll. Per usual, I will do that off camera. But while we're up here, this is a tool that came with the replacement brush roll and filter sets for the Shark Rocket. Just gonna see if it will do us any good. Eh, not really. So this will have to be an off-camera job with scissors. bumper. I have to find a way to lift this piece up. There we go. Let's clean her up a little bit. One more Phillips screw down here, at least, on the headlights. So we'll take that out. Looks to be the exact same screw, if not a slightly larger head. That would explain why the headlight is so dim. But since the bulb filament is still good, I will reuse the bulb. I'll just have to clean it with a bit of glass cleaner, but I cleaned everything with a bit of glass cleaner anyways, so all's good. Belt guard. Motor mounts are in decent shape. That's nice. Wheel axle is a bit rusty, but it's not terrible compared to other vacs I've seen. That's dusty as usual. I tend to get that way. Usually the bushing goes in like that, but at least there is a bushing there. This bushing is on the same layer. Weird. Usually I see the bushings inside of the wheel. Like this, if you know what I'm getting at. I'll take out the release pedal off camera because it can be kind of a struggle. Now everything up top. I've never taken apart an Altima style unit this far. I have worked on a 300 Surface Max, or Surface Max 300, which is basically the yellow Altima, the last generation of it before the entire style was discontinued. That was a while ago. Looks like a contour. Now we have to move up to the handle, which has 2 screws, it looks like, securing it. There we go. It's the handle assembly. I'll just wipe it down. Take a look, see how this is constructed. Okay. switches out. Cover. These Altimas in True Cleans and Surface Maxes kind of give me Bissell vibes, so I wonder if they're made to compete with Bissell. That little clear plastic connector is still in good shape, so I think I'll reuse it. Very interesting dirt reference assembly thing. Gasket maybe want to come out. Yes, it does. Taking off the black piece. Looks like it has a gasket, so that was probably a good idea. It's not often you've probably seen an Altima as naked as this one, unless you've actually taken one apart. Singular screw back there. The bin mechanism. I will say she's got a lot of pieces, but she's not hard to open up. Motor as a contour. It's the tube that goes from the upper cyclone assembly Down to the motor. Very dusty motor cover. Very dusty motor, so let's clean her up a little bit. Last screw we gotta take out, and it's for this piece. Unlike on the Contour, it's not all rusted. Most rust on vacuums is of the owner's fault, not the machine itself. Gonna have to separate it. Take off a little plastic cable retainer, wire cutters of the needle noses, and cut it. And a little zip tie. Yoink this cable the other way. Same motor gasket as the Contour. It's made of a foam though, and not a rubber. Extra piece of foam right there. Very similar body to the Contour. Get you a little closer look at this stamp. It's made in 2008. So it was a rather late model. Awfully dusty. We can clean her up. Let's take a look at this motor really quick. So let's clean up. Of course, a more careful cleaning will be done with another machine and a smaller dusting brush. Probably the Force with a Maxima dusting brush. Thermal reset. And our machine is apart. So I'm going to get all this stuff loaded. We're going to wash it and get some new filter, exhaust filter for it, and we'll be back to see this machine getting put back together. 2 days later, and very sharp plastic, we have the machine ready to be put back together. The motor certainly looks a lot better than it did. If you don't account for the amount of dust that was on it, it's in pretty good shape. So I think it's time to start putting the machine back together. Also, brand new HEPA filter. I got two of them because I had to steal a filter out of my Eureka the Boss Pro to put one in my contour. And they use the same thing, so I'm going to go fetch the front cover for this. With everything that goes with it, including the headlight lens and the filter door, we shall put this thing back together. Look how much better that is. Crazy how things can go from being, you know, under a whole layer of dust to basically brand new in just a few steps. I had a flathead. Where'd it go? That's not it. So we'll use this one. There we go. Run the wires back through assembly. I appear to not know where the blue wire strippers have gone. Don't know where the blue wire strippers have gone, so we're just going to wire nut these in place. Why do I want the blue one specifically? Because they are a lot better at their job than the red ones. Let's start with what's out. Oh. Okay, let's start up top. Let's see if I can see. This screw is freakishly long. Oh, it's a handle screw. Get back in there. Now we can start screwing this back in. Torque setting of 12. That's what I have my drill set on. Torque setting is 12. Be careful with too much torque because you might break your screw threads. If you aren't sure if it's starting straight, take a manual screwdriver and start tightening it, then your drill, bam, just like that. Just getting a mental idea of where some screws may go. Need 3 of them under the cover. When in doubt, start the screws manually, then allow the drill to do the rest. When it comes to plugging the switch back in, it really doesn't matter which connector goes where, because polarity does not matter. Polarity does not matter when it comes to just bog standard switches. And this, kids, is why you clean out your brush roll bearings. This seal has obviously been eaten up. Not supposed to be a metallic ring in the center of a sealed bearing. Careful of magnets too, your screwdrivers will be attracted to them. Two more in the back, we can continue on. With putting the motor stuff back in. know what I like about the old Eureka vacuums is that the headlights look like smiley faces. I don't know why I like it, but I think it's just a neat little thing. Also remember to tighten up loose wire ends like that. It makes doing stuff like wire nuts a lot easier. Dirty screw. Trying to figure out exactly how it goes in. I'm not exactly sure if it matters how the headlight's wired up either. We're gonna do it like that. Trying to figure out exactly what is the best way for this motor to go in. What's nice about Eurekas like this is you do not have to worry about this motor mount having too much clearance or too much of a gap, because, you know, it's not split in half down here. Because the cover is not at all related to the motor mount point. Which, I'm gonna be honest, is not a bad design. I'm going to do a little bit of what my power mechanics for small engines knowledge is telling me to do, and I'm going to start fastening these in a star pattern. Not a good enough grip, so I'm going to leave it like that so that I don't strip it out. Got the foam piece in there. You know, it might seem a little bit weird that I do this, but because it's plastic, gotta have a bit of slickness. So this old thing of chapstick ought to just on spots where it's visibly worn out or wearing. Not a lot, just enough to make it move better. And then on this side, because it's riding on these points, I should do on the inside. Again, not a whole lot. You don't want this thing to be saturated, but you still want enough that it will move freely. I think I'm weird for using chapstick, but hey, it works. If it's stupid, but it works, it ain't stupid. tighten this one with a screwdriver. Little yellow shroud. Right on in there. Twist it till it don't move no more. The old cover for it. And the old duster. There is the motor unit pretty much done. Handle's been wiped down and the cord hook has been sprayed with some liquid wrench spray white lithium grease to loosen it up because it's pretty stiff. Get our handle screws out. Handle is on. Continuing with some of the stuff on the back. Got our hose. This one started by a screwdriver, just to make sure we don't cross thread anything. Cross threading is not a good thing to do. That one is just stiff. Then the hose retainer and the hose. So something like that, or at least should. You know, I'd like to have my radio on while I do this stuff. The only problem is copyright. So it would just be dead silence and tool sounds. But you know what? We'll be okay. We're starting to look like an Altima. Hold up. One second. our spin duster. As Chance and aka Intelitech Studios says, a very underrated feature. Get that just so it won't. They did not make that screw slot very deep. Starting to look like an Altima. I'm going to keep this Hoover dusting brush on it, just because it's a better fit than the Eureka dusting brushes, but since it has a black extension wand and dark gray crevice tool, I can just get a black dusting brush from Sanitaire. Power Paw. Let's see if I can do this without knocking stuff over. Power Paw rebuilt. Used my other Power Paw for parts. Right up there. Just perfect. Set the machine back a little bit. Get to work on putting our base back together. Belt guard. Just a little wipe down with a little bit of glass cleaner, and should be just fine for what we got. Not exactly sure if it goes there. I feel like it should go here. There's like a groove for it. So I think we will put it there. Metal bits are clean. So I want to try something. Spray white lithium grease. Just keep everything moving nice and smoothly. turn of the chapstick tube. Chapstick tube to lube the adjustment knob to prevent the wearing out the actual insert itself. Also makes it turn a lot smoother. A little bit of grease on these points too, makes it easier to use. Prevents that joint from wearing out too. Sometimes your vacuums will fight you. You don't need to completely cover it in a big glob. A little dab will do, as they say. And now we get to put the machine back on its base. There we go. Now I can reach out for a new belt. We gotta clean and repack bearing brush roll. Type U belt. Test fit it first. lift up the end to see that, yep, the end cap is properly situated on that side. And then we put on our hood. For the hood screws, I'm going to put the screwdriver on 10, just so you don't run the risk of stripping things out. It is not one of them. Have a good grip on these screws, so we will not attempt to keep going with a standard drill. So flatheads does not fit either. I think that'll do. Now our Altima is reassembled, folks. Let's test this thing. Alright, it's all plugged in. Let's get her to run. 3, 2, 1, blast off. Motor is still a little loud than I think it should be, but it's as clean as I can get it, so we'll go with it. So notice how the motor still sounded out of balance even after I put it back together? Well, as you can see, I went to take it for a little spin on this basement carpet, and the sound was not getting any better. In fact, occasionally it got worse. So I went back in, took the motor apart, and this is the old air deflector piece. Notice something? There are no holes for the screws that would usually hold these down to go. Nor was there any threads in the retainer for the top bearing for screws to go. So what I did was I took the old air deflector out of the old rusted motor that came out of the Contour because it had holes and recessions for the heads of screws. And I took a slightly longer screw of the same thread pitch and size, and I tapped some threads into the existing holes in the frame of this motor. And also, I decided to wash out the fan, because I'd already been into the motor while it was already all taken apart and drying, to just clean the thing out and oil up the bearings a little bit. But ever since I swapped out the air deflector, Yeah, eventually she's going to need some bearing replacements, but it doesn't sound like it's trying to rip itself apart, and it sounds like it's not as strained as it was before we took it apart and cleaned it out. So yeah. I'm Jack's Vaccine Safety, signing off with another video of the Workbench, this time a Eureka Altima. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace.